Here in Osun State, a bill will see to the issuance of Islamic and traditional marriage certificates scheduled second reading today at the State House of Assembly. The bill formed the major deliberation at today's plenary. Toby Sanusi has more on this.
Commencing the brief plenary session today, the lawmakers adopted the vote and proceedings of the last plenary session to kickstart the deliberations for the day.
The motion has been moved and seconded that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 11th March 2025 be adopted. If you are in support, say aye. Aye. If you are against, say no. The ayes have it.
The only deliberation of the day was centered on the second reading of the Osun State Islamic and Traditional Marriages Registration Bill 2024 after the presentation of its policy thrust. Leading debates on the bill, the sponsor, Bamidele Lawal of Osogbo State Constituency, says the bill, when passed into law, will provide for the appointment of marriage registrar that will be responsible to the President of the Customary Court of Appeal. He also noted that the bill aims to improve the social life of people in the state and increase the state's internally generated revenue through issuance of marriage certificates.
This bill, if passed into law, will provide for appointment of marriage registrar who shall be responsible to the President of the Customary Court of Appeal, responsible for recommending application forms from the issuance of certificates, issuance of licenses for both Islamic and traditional marriage, ensure proper documentation of Islamic and traditional organizations in the states, generates revenue for the states by the payment of fees for the issuance of the certificates, thereby enhancing the internal generated revenue of the states, and easy processing for international documents for foreign trips. It is observed that those directly concerned by this bill are eagerly waiting for the passage of this bill.
The Nigerian Marriage Act 2004 regulates statutory marriages, otherwise known as court marriages, which is a monogamous union. But with the introduction of the bill, Islamic marriage, which permits polygamy, will be duly registered with certificates issued. While calling for a speedy passage of the bill, lawmaker from Ila State Constituency, Shikiru Bajepade, cited his daughter's inability to be issued a Muslim marriage certificate during a wedding, forcing them to head to registry.
Because it is an opportunity for us as Muslims, or even as traditional religious worshippers, to have a way of registering their own marriages. I have an experience recently. I gave my daughter her hand in marriage, and because of the non-availability of this kind of opportunity, we have to go to the regular registry. So they are denied of the opportunity of having this kind of certificate.
Other lawmakers also lent their voices to the bill, drumming support for its passage and stressing that it will preserve the interests of Muslims and traditional worshippers.
When they say they got married under Islamic law, nothing to prove it, thereby forcing our people to go to the regular registry in the local government. And it is perceived as if when you say statutory marriage, it's more or less a Christian marriage. So to safeguard the interests of the Muslims and the traditional believers, this bill is very, very appropriate.
Going to a court wedding registry, some people will like, how will I marry second wife? Because we go to court wedding. But with this law now, when it passed into law, it will give room for marry as much as possible. As Quran even says, only 4. So there will be a reason for you to marry 5. Maybe if the first wife gets old, or there are some circumstances.
However, another lawmaker, Abiola Awoyeye of Ife Central State Constituency, called for a wider participation in the deliberations on the bill by way of organizing a public hearing that will include major stakeholders, including women, for gender balance before the bill's passage.
Our Honorable said Islam allows you to marry 4 unless something happens, something special happens, that you have to take the fifth wife. I just want to say that maybe we can allow for some other discourse in the way of a public hearing before we allow this bill to become a law. because I see that it's just men. It's when you take a wife, the wife is an active person in that marriage. It's very important.
The Speaker proceeded to align himself with the debate on the bill, including the call for public hearing. The House, however, adjourned the plenary session till tomorrow for further talks. Toby Sanusi, Western Spring Television News.